Okay, let's unpack this. Today we're looking at an article called The Art of Not Beaming Reiki. It's by Bronwen Logan.
Right?
And if you're involved in energy work, things like Reiki, you've probably heard of beaming, maybe even done it yourself, consciously like sending energy out.
Yeah, directing it, often from the hands.
Exactly. But this article, it takes a really interesting angle on that, offers something different to think about.
It really does. Our plan here is to explore what Bronwen Logan is getting at. It makes you reconsider what a healing presence truly means, especially if we step back from that idea of actively projecting energy.
It definitely challenges a common view, doesn't it? So Bronwen Logan talks about beaming as, well, basically facing your hands or yourself towards someone or something and intentionally trying to send or beam energy their way.
But she raises a potential issue with that, especially, she notes, when working with animals.
Oh, okay. How so?
Well, she mentions hearing from an animal Reiki teacher that beaming can sometimes come across as pretty intense, maybe even like startling or a bit aggressive to an animal.
Really? Intense?
Yeah, and the author kind of expands on that, suggesting that this whole posture, this focus on sending energy, it might accidentally create a feeling of separation.
Separation. Huh. That seems like the complete opposite of what you'd want in healing work, right? Isn't it all about connection?
It does seem counterintuitive, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the article suggests that by thinking of it as projecting energy to someone else, we sort of mentally draw a line, create a distance.
Yeah, it might not actually be there energetically.
Exactly. We might be overlooking the connection that's already, inherently present. And this ties into what Usui taught, that healing involves the whole self, not just hands, but eyes, voice, breath, the whole being.
So less about doing something to them from over here.
Right.
And more about just being fully with them, with your whole self. It reminds me of that story in the article about her dogs.
Oh, yeah, the Mudley example. The dog with separation anxiety,
Right.
hiding out in the rain. And her other dog, Bowie, he didn't, try to coax him back or do anything complicated.
No, he just went out and sat with him.
Just sat there, just being present, calm, sharing the space. Quiet support, without any big effort or agenda.
That really lands, doesn't it? It's not this active sending of comfort. It's just sharing presence.
Being together.
And Bronwen uses that, suggesting maybe that natural animal response shows us humans something really basic that we've maybe overcomplicated sometimes, especially in some Western approaches.
Yeah, potentially. And what's really thought-provoking is the contrast she describes and how it feels. Trying to beam energy, there can be this tension, this effort involved, like you're pushing something.
Okay, I can imagine that.
But then if you shift to just showing up, whole self, relaxed hands, soft, open, gentle gaze, just breathing naturally, she describes a totally different internal experience.
What's that like then? Is it just passive or?
The article suggests it's not passive, not at all. It's more like a dynamic state, fully engaged, but without that strain of trying to project something. She talks about breath patterns starting to sync up.
Ah, co-regulation.
Exactly. Nervous system's naturally starting to co-regulate. It's framed less as some mystical energy transfer and more like a biological recognition of being in a shared state.
Yeah.
Shared aliveness.
Like the dogs just get it because they don't intellectualize it.
Maybe. They just embody it, whereas we humans sometimes turn it into techniques, rituals, things that can become a bit external.
Right, that makes sense. A performance versus just being.
Kind of.
So the core idea here from Bronwen Logan's article is that the really deep healing might happen less when we're trying to beam or project energy outwards.
And more when we simply are fully present.
Yeah.
It sets up that contrast pretty clearly. Beaming with its effort and potential separation versus being present, fostering connection and that natural co-regulation.
It's quite humbling, really, the thought that animals might just naturally grasp this connection, this healing presence, maybe better than we sometimes do with all our methods. They just are with each other.
It leads to a fascinating question, which the article basically puts out there for us.
Okay.
If the most profound healing, from this perspective, happens when we stop trying so hard to fix or send something, and instead just offer our steady, non-judging presence, what does that tell you about the power, maybe the untapped power, of simply being authentically with another person? Or with an animal?